Hey, perfect. We're live. So, from beautiful BC and Alligator, Florida, this is Left of the Valley 2.0. My name is Kevin. And what's the difference between Iron Man and Aluminum Man? You know that? Well, Iron Man stops the bad guys, but Aluminum Man foils their plans.
Oh.
That's good. Okay.
Jesus.
Well, guys, we were supposed to do a show today, but unfortunately, COVID foiled our plans, and Aluminum Man too. We thought we'd do something we just like react to things Christians say, and that's why we're doing it live at the same time. Just want to give a little something to our audience. So, hey, my man Troy, how you doing, buddy? You feeling better?
Not too bad. I'm all over my flu bugs and stuff. George Soros came to me in a dream and said, "Healed, my son." And then all of a sudden he turned into a dragon. We joined into a Congo line with the Bay City Rollers. So it could have been a dream. I don't know.
You know what? I think that's called too much LSD, but I appreciate that.
That'll do it.
No more mushrooms before bedtime.
Brent Lee, how you doing, buddy?
Excellent. Hanging in there.
Excellent. And we have a special guest. We have one of our patrons, Dawn. Dawn, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good. Thank you for having me.
You might not think.
Good to have you.
You might regret this decision. All right, guys.
Yeah,
So
I'll tell you now, Don. We don't have an HR department, so if you have any complaints, it's smile and nod.
Troy, your audio is popping again. Oh God, what is your audio? It's always your audio. So, anyway, let's get that fixed. In the meantime, we'll just take a quick look at some videos and see what's going on here. And in the wacky world of Christianity and everything that's going on, and there's a dog barking somewhere as well. So I think that's Troy as well. All right, Troy, we'll wait for you in a few minutes. So this is going to be a baptism by fire for you. I don't know if you've ever seen some of our videos, Dawn. That especially Brantley is very good at that. He specializes in wacky things that Christians say. And instead of doing our usual show, we'll do that today. So some of this stuff might actually shock you. As Canadians, we don't necessarily expect to hear some of the stuff that comes out of the U.S., but this is actually true stuff that's going on there. So I'm going to start the ball here, and I'm going to present, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we're going to share this video. All right. What was that? I don't know what that was, but anyway. Okay, how do I start this video again?
I think click on the actual video. See?
There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, so this video is to talk about this guy named what's his name? Vincent James. Vincent James is actually becoming more and more popular as a YouTuber, and he's totally a white supremacist. And it's getting actually kind of scary because to the point now that he's actually doing a thing called White Power Wednesday or White Man Wednesday or something like that. And it's becoming insanely popular, apparently. So that's the kind of nonsense that's happening. So let's take a quick look at this.
Like, who cares how they treat homosexuals? Why do we have to measure things based on how they treat homosexuals?
Right.
Can't we measure things based on everything else? Why does that always have to be the most important thing?
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's pause that right now. Nobody measures things by how we treat homosexuals, okay? That doesn't happen. I don't go out there and say, well, I need a cord of wood, but I measure it by how I treat homosexuals. No, it doesn't happen, right? It just doesn't happen. But it is a valid example of how you treat a segment of the population. So right there's one falsity. Let's keep going.
They throw gays off buildings. So how does their train system work? Is my train going to be 12 hours late? Oh, no? Oh, okay. Well, I'll look the other way while they're throwing some gay dude off. If my train's going to be on time and they're going to serve me a meal? So which one would you rather have? Trains to be on time, society to function, or society to be completely dysfunctional, and they throw gays off roofs, or society to be completely dysfunctional and totally homosexual, and they're turning your kids gay I'd say I'd choose the functional society where they throw gays off roofs and make women wear turbans or whatever it's called.
Potato sack.
Oh, God.
Literal
Potato sack.
potato.
Okay, I had to pause this again. I
In
don't
the
know.
countries that he's talking about, he's be the one thrown off the roofs. Like,
Well,
he
yeah,
would be, like, what is he talking about?
Well, first of all, it's almost like, isn't it interesting the way he sets this up, that you can either have a society that functions or a society that throws, that is gay. And a society that functions necessarily means you throw people off roofs. It's like, no, it's not a black and white situation here. You can have the trains running on time and not throw people off a fucking roof. You don't really need to throw people off roofs, otherwise the trains are not going to run on time. It doesn't work that way. Okay.
What's he talking about?
Yeah.
What?
The 5:30 to Amsterdam is late because we didn't want to throw this guy off a roof. No, that doesn't work that way. What the hell?
Yeah, like how are these
This?
how are these things connected at all? That's I'm just like so confused.
It makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense. And then, of course, he puts in there a hint of racism and says, "Oh, we'll put women in turbans." No, it's not turbans.
Right. Yeah.
Or hijabs, or let's say.
Yeah,
Good job.
not turbans. What are they called? Hijabs.
Yeah, this
No, it's called hijab, and it's Jesus.
yeah, this guy is obviously an idiot. Oh, Troy, hey, you're back. And I can't believe that people actually are making this association that you can either have society functioning or a society that's pro-homosexual, one or the other. Because somehow a society that shows respect to a segment of the population is somehow dysfunctional. It's like, it doesn't work that way, man. It replaced the word homosexual with the word black, for example. Well, you could have a society that the trains run on time, or throw blacks off the roof, or a society that's pro-black. Which one do you want?
Where everything's just falling to pieces. Which you pick, buddy. Yeah, like what the
No
fuck?
sense whatsoever. And I can't believe this guy is actually becoming popular to the point of having a following. And like you said, the White Power Wednesdays now apparently are a thing. Really
Yeah.
insane.
It kind of freaks you out. Isn't he the one that does like the raps every once in a while? And all of a sudden he'll just
I
start
don't know.
rapping. I don't know.
Oh,
There's another one of these guys. I thought that was his name, but like, yeah, he was just rapping the other day about like Twitter sucks, but it was like the worst, just nonsense. Like, just I don't know. I imagine if Joe Biden did a hip hop, he would be writing things down and being like, "Oh man, that was so good. I need to." That's like how bad it was. That's how like he just sounded like he was just making stuff up. Like,
it's interesting
know,
that you get this guy that will say White Power Wednesday and like he's a total white supremacist, yet will use rap and hip hop, which is not a white thing at all, to promote your message. I mean, dude, don't you know any bit of that history of that genre of music? It didn't come out of Ireland, I'm sorry to tell you that, buddy.
yeah. It's
Oh.
pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, goodness.
So I got this other video, and okay, so this one's going to be kind of a different thread there. This is more just like crazy people.
Okay.
that-
What crazy people.
that believe stuff about like the end times and all this. It's just funny, and I actually can't even remember which one. I've watched so many of these that I'm like, they're all blurring together at this point. But yeah, I think this one, and it's done like a YouTube educational video kind of thing, right? So it's like
Yeah.
the Christians like figured out how to do video essays basically, and so they're
No,
making
Mark, don't be afraid to jump in if you need them to comment something. We monopolize the conversation here, so don't be shy. I know it's intimidating with the mic for the first time there, but you can do it. As the sole female representative here right now, so you can do it. Okay, so is this like out of Prager? It almost looks like a PragerU. Is that the Blaze, or is that what's his face?
this is Blaze, and
Blaze.
this looks like
What was his name?
Glenn Beck, isn't it?
Glenn Beck. That's right.
Yeah.
God, that guy's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like very high on the conspiracy ladder there.
I know
Yeah.
Here we
that, things happening in the midst of our society that, if you look at Romans chapter 1, or if you look at history, these are the kind of things that happen toward the end of a society's lifespan, if you will. And I think unless things change dramatically, that what we're going to see is going to be catastrophic.
It seems that with every passing year, things are getting worse and worse in both the country and the culture. Here are 10 of the most terrifying 2020. Make sure you stick around until the end to hear why Christians should still have hope, even in the midst of all the chaos around us. At number 10, rise of Dylan Mulvaney, a biological male who became toxins after
Paul, let me check that a sec. Hold on, it's skipping a minute. Let me make sure I'm all plugged up. Yeah, I gotta let it catch up real quick.
So right now, the thing is, they're presenting the top 10 horrible things Christians need to look for because these are all signs of the end time, right? Is that what I'm
Yes,
saying here? Which
basically, yeah.
I find it funny because it's been the end times all my life so far, and
Yeah.
I'm approaching 50, and it's like I'm almost like, come on, guys, is this ever going to happen here? It's like, geez,
No,
you've been showing end times for 50 years now. So kind of getting tired of it.
time is relative, so it's
Well, in reality, it's been end times for like 2,000 years now. So
Right.
they've been counting end times ever since Jeebus left. So
yeah, it's always going to be the end times. It's always
it's
been the
going
end
to be
times.
times. There's always a sign of the end times, and there's always going to be a prediction of the end times. And if you watch your prediction for the end times, by the time you get the 9th one, your 10th one is free. And just make sure you card, you get your 10th apocalypse for free.
Yeah, yeah, Jesus. Yeah, let's see if this works.
Gender girl in creating the series Day of Girlhood.
Day one of being a girl, and I have already cried 3 times. I wrote a scathing email that I did not send. I ordered dresses online that I couldn't afford. And then when someone asked me how I was, I said, I'm fine, when I wasn't fine. How'd I do, ladies? Good? Girl power.
Dylan is unique
Sounds
in
like
that
me.
he's not just a TikTok star who posts viral TikTok videos that are unbelievably insulting to actual women. No, Dylan is so special that even the President of the United States, Joe Biden, is a fan of Days of Girlhood.
And the fact that our president has watched Days of Girlhood, it's kind of epic.
And
Oh.
Dylan was even invited to the White House to interview President Biden.
Mr. President, this is my 221st day of publicly transitioning.
God
And,
love you.
Thank you.
It's truly terrifying that the President of the
It's like-
United States is
Oh,
essentially bowing down to someone as ridiculous as Dylan Mulvaney and
Bowing down
acquiescing
to
to
anybody.
everything he asks for concerning transgender.
Okay, yeah, because here, it's so crazy they could sit here and be like, "Oh my God, these people are so crazy and weird." Okay, now watch my video essay as I talk about how Satan controls everything. Okay, just check this out. Look, I'm not crazy. They are.
I'm
What
not
the fuck?
bowing down to this person any more than Donald Trump was bowing down to Kid Rock or Ted Nugent.
Right. Like anybody that's just in their presence, oh, you're just bowing down.
Bowing down.
What?
I guess President Trump was bowing down to Kanye, right? As well.
Right.
Is that what you want to say, guys? It's like, come on. Just because the president met with a quasi celebrity that she probably has a big following online there doesn't mean anything. It's just a way for politicians to get like points on the side of popularity to make him look a bit more hip or anything like that. Biden probably doesn't even know the first thing about this girl. You know?
I mean, I know that he
Publicity
he's come
too.
around a bit. Like he
I'm sure.
listens, and that's the cool thing that he actually does listen and grow. And
But
you
I'm pretty sure when he goes down to the bunker there and discuss, international issues about what's happening around the world, maybe we should, take a look at the Russians. But these that girl on TikTok told me not to because I'm bowing down to her now. Apparently, is that freaking
yeah, you got to solve the real problem, which is boys wearing women's clothes. Okay,
that's the real problem.
Jesus.
I just love how they panic over nothing.
I know, right? And they get so mad, and it's like also like part hilarious, but also part sad because they're so like hyper focused on trans people that means that the trans folks can hardly be safe anywhere that
Mm.
these people exist. You know,
Oh, no, it's true.
it's terrifying because this video's got like 300,000 views. You know, this
Yep.
fucking ridiculous shit. You know, it's crazy like how popular this stuff is. It's freaky. You know?
There's an old adage in
Right.
politics. A lot easier to thrill people with hatred than with reason. And this is a very good example of it.
Yeah, reason ends up kind of being boring, you know, comparatively.
That's all.
Jeez, there we go.
But Dylan Mulvaney is merely a symptom of a much larger problem,
Oh,
which brings us to number 9, the attack on men and the rise of men such as Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson. There is today an all-out attack on men and masculinity from the culture. People like Dylan Mulvaney arise because of a culture that confuses children about the differences between men and women. Instead of encouraging boys to act like boys and girls to act like girls, the
What does that even
differences
mean?
between boys
Yeah,
and
what does that even
girls
mean?
are being eliminated by the culture
Dude,
right
what girls act like and what boys act like fucking changes. Like what they dress like changes, what they do, any of this stuff.
What does
It's
that mean,
constantly
boys
changing.
like boys and girls act like girls? Does that mean that boys need to necessarily pick up guns and shoot each other, and girls need to play with dolls? Is that what they're saying here?
I mean, I pretty much, yeah. I think that I mean, that's where they're starting it, you
Yeah,
know.
the 1950s called, and they want their they want their prejudice back.
Exactly.
It's you'll see that in the vast majority of the population anyway. Most boys even today are not necessarily fond of going play with their Barbie doll, but if they want to, let them. There's nothing wrong with it, And if
Who
a
gives
girl
a
wants to
shit?
pick up a fake branch that looks like a gun and shoot with the boys in the woods, I'm like, yeah, let her do it too. It's like, geez, how difficult is this? No, can't do that. You gotta have girls with dresses and no pigtails, and boys have to be covered in mud somehow.
Yeah. And if there's anything outside of that exact fucking dichotomy,
Yeah.
then
And then the world's falling apart. That's it. It's Armageddon. It's hell. And the president's bowing down to a TikTok. It's as predicted in Revelation, obviously.
Of course. Oh yeah. I mean, all this is really, I'm sure you can find a verse for every bit of it.
Well, then I was
before
raised- I played with dump trucks and boys' toys all the time. I never picked up a doll.
Oh, shit. See?
Well,
No.
obviously you should have a TikTok video and should be, but the President Biden should be bowing down to you too. At
That's
this
what I was
point.
just thinking. TikTok was a thing back when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And I could have been famous by now. TikTok
Absolutely,
famous.
absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Like, I didn't even play with the doll, and everybody, Satan. That's what we say when we're offended. Satan.
Say,
our very eyes.
And then it's so incredibly ironic because we've been told for decades, right? We've been told for decades that all of these things are social constructs. The roles of men and women, the toys that they play with, the things that they like. Who are we to say that, girls can't like trucks and football and, boys can't like, dolls and whatever, right? We've been told that for decades. But now we're told, I've always known that I was a man trapped in a woman's body. Why? Because I like dolls and pretty things. The exact
That's not
opposite of what
why.
we've been saying for decades, or what we've been being told
That-
for decades.
nobody's-
And what
hold
they
on.
hope is
Yeah, that's bullshit. Nobody's saying that.
Nobody goes out there and says, "Look, I'm in the body. I'm a woman inside the body of a man, and I know this because I like to play with trucks." Nobody in the history of mankind has ever said that.
No.
If you have the courage to come out as a trans person, which takes an incredible amount of courage to do this, even in this situation, even in a country like Canada. I mean, in the States, it's even like, wow, it's even more than you. But even in Canada, it's a tough thing to do. It's certainly not because you like to play with trucks.
No.
Well, and I think of my two favorite toys. I've got my Tonka truck and my Barbie doll, and I much prefer my Tonka truck. I must be a man.
Yeah.
No, this is not how the process works.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. And it's weird that it's actually reversed too. Like, because if you look at so the whole point of this section of the video, right, is to say that the reason that Andrew Tate, who is like this evil, like hyper masculine guy, right? And Jordan Peterson, the reason for that is because there's been this all-out attack on masculinity, right? And that's sort of saying that creates that, right? Which is so funny because it's like literally the opposite. The bad behavior of men created the problem that we're all not finally addressing. And then as a pushback on that, yeah, these hyper masculine guys come out and be like, well, you guys aren't giving anything for the little boys to look at, and so we provide that for them, and it's like, but you were already the problem. We were pushing back on you already existing, and then that was what you're now calling an attack on masculinity, and now you're getting even crazier about it. Like
they call it a problem on masculinity. People call it toxic masculinity. I call it shitty masculinity because I think I'm a pretty manly man, but even I am not that shitty. I'm not the one going with no shit and all that crap. I don't do that. I'm very comfortable in my manhood. And anybody who knows me for half a second knows, yeah, Kevin's like not a girly kind of guy. But,
right.
At the same time, I could still be pro women, and this show has always been very pro women. We've always had a lot of strong female voices, and they are needed. We are a species, not of one, but of two and several different voices and opinions. And this is what makes the strength of our species, the fact that we can express these and have different points of views. And if you're always going to be in the same bubble with only like the super hyper masculine point of view, you're just going to run into a shitload of problems, man. You can't run a world with just that. You just can't.
Well, and it's psychologically damaging because like men put like so much pressure on ourselves and on each other to like, be who we are, like, or feel okay about who we are, and then we start to like make it almost impossible to be who we're supposed to be, quote unquote, as a man and this and that.
Oh yeah, I mean, as much as they say women have an impossible standard to climb to. This kind of hyper masculinity is becoming that too for men. It's an impossible standard. The super brawny, tough as nails guys. So it's not psychologically. It's just not good for you. At some point, you have to also realize you're not just a male. You're a person too, right? And you have the right to have emotions. You have the right to have feelings. You have the right to do a lot of things, and you need to express them as well. Otherwise, you're just gonna become some kind of basket case. And the perfect example of that is exactly Andrew Tate. I mean, this is a guy that people revere as hyper masculine, and frankly, I really don't see him as much of a man's man. I really don't. When I look at him,
He does.
The guy grooms young children to get into the sex industry. I don't see how that's masculine at all.
Is that how masculine is that? Do you think John Wayne? Let's take John Wayne, right? The typical American man's man, John Wayne. You think John Wayne would be shaking Andrew Tate's hand today if he was around? Say, hey man, good job, you're the man's man. This would be happening? No, John Wayne would be the one punching him across the face. He used to be the one kicking the guy's ass. Saying, what the fuck are you doing with those girls, dude? So your hyper masculinity is completely out of whack, and you're just doing this at some kind of because you feel that somehow you've lost your power, which you've never. Let's face it, especially white men have never lost. We still have it, but you feel that it's under attack somehow. Anyway, we could go on this part.
Because other people are getting attention, man, and that's you can't just pay attention to other people besides us. I mean, come on. What are we even doing here? If like, there you go.
Yeah,
I think we don't remember,
Oh, I'm
or
sorry.
that we're so intimidated.
What's up? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, society always works best when everybody can be the best version of themselves possible. And, like, a good example of that is, like, gays in the military down in the States. It's like originally they had the don't ask, don't tell. And then all of a sudden they started cracking down on it, fired a whole bunch of people, and then in the States or in the military. And then all of a sudden they find out that they lose all their code breakers or people that where like the gay community was really good at deciphering codes. Just why, I don't know. But being allowed to be gay, being allowed to be themselves, allowed them to do something that other people couldn't do. And that's the whole point of letting everybody letting everybody be the best versions of themselves possible, because then people are able to excel and open up new opportunities, like the computer. Like Alan Turing was. It's like he was until his gayness became an issue. He was allowed to excel and be the best person he could be, and we have modern computing as a result of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you put a stop to that, and all of a sudden, all the additional things he could have contributed, it just got tossed out the window because he made the mistake of letting people know that he was gay, or at least it came out. But
it was used as something against him, and it's a shame. Like, God knows where the story of Alan Turing is a tragic one, but God knows what more the guy could have contributed to the field had he been allowed to just be himself.
Yeah, exactly. Without having all that social pressure of well, you have to at least get into a sham marriage so that we don't euthanize you. It's like, how the heck do you excel with being afraid of being either tossed in jail or euthanized, or not euthanized, but sterilized or whatever? It's people can't excel underneath those conditions, and it's cruel to put people underneath those conditions. And this whole recent attack against the trans community, it just seems like just for the sake of having a culture war, we're trying to bring back an era where people were beaten, abused, jailed, vilified. And it's like one of the worst elements of human nature. But here we have the people that are supposed to be like the beacon of morality, trying to pull us backwards to an immoral time. But
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Troy, your mic is starting to pop again.
I need a better mic.
I'm gonna Patreon go. We're gonna get a better mic for Troy. Let's continue the video.
We don't call them on it. Well, I remember, and I ain't scared.
Oh, yeah.
This absolute confusion and propaganda from the culture has resulted in countless men who feel disillusioned and left behind, who are looking for someone to show them what it means to be a man. And this is what has led to an explosion in popularity for men such as Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson.
Because it struck me as extraordinary that Google this week revealed some stats for the year. The number one person whose name followed people Google searching who is in 2022 was Andrew Tate.
Yeah, that's quite remarkable. I think there's a whole swath of the population, especially young men, that feel disenfranchised. They feel disenfranchised with the media machine and the things they're supposed to believe. They don't feel an affinity with the educational systems or the culture. And they look at a person like me who stands up and says the things that many young men think. I haven't put a magic spell on the world. The fact that people like what I say means that they agree with me deep inside. They may be afraid to say it themselves.
Pause out for a second.
I am seen as a bastion of free speech and a bastion.
Well, first of all, I'm one of the people that Google who is Andrew Tate, because I remember seeing a video about this idiot saying something absolutely outrageous, and then I Googled who the fuck is Andrew Tate. And so it's not because I felt disenfranchised. It's not because all of a sudden I felt inspired by Andrew Tate. And no, it's because you're a moron. You said something very controversial, and now you're being popular on Google because I'm sure there's a big segment of, ooh, this guy is saying what I feel. I'm sure there is of that pop, but I think there's a bigger segment of, who is this idiot?
So you're
True, yeah.
So you're saying you're not a member of the Small Dick Energy fan club?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not an incel. I don't have this cabal of young men thinking that I should enslave women into prostitution. That's what I mean.
Do I think it's funny is like he's supposed to be this man's man. Meanwhile, he decides that he's going to cyberbully this girl online or whatever, or Greta online. She completely owns him, makes a dick joke, and then he spends the next 8 hours ranting online and doing videos of how she's the one with the small dick. And it's like, okay, where's the masculinity here? It's like you're getting in a fight with a little girl about how big your penis is, and you're telling us that you're a macho man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, Greta, get out the measuring stick. All right, we're gonna do this. I want to see a
Make sure
picture
you measure
of your
from the
dick.
bottom, Greta.
You're
Come
gonna
on.
God, you're getting a thumb. You know, and I hate
It's
to
to a
say, but
ruler.
for all the fans of Andrew and all these guys, you know, that like to put, you know, they're alpha males. If you have to say you're an alpha male, you're not. Okay,
Yeah.
if you have to put out there that somehow you're an alpha male, and so yeah, I'm an alpha male, and you put that on your Twitter line, I'm an alpha male. As soon as you say you're an alpha male, you're not. You just not.
Yeah, men aren't insecure enough to brag about to brag about being a man. It's a yeah. Either way,
Go back to what I was saying there. You know, the quintessential John Wayne. Do you really think John Wayne today would be out there saying he's an alpha male on Twitter? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
no.
Well, man.
You don't need to say that.
No, even people that people like in media, like if you ever watch the show Yellowstone, is it Griff or Grish or whatever? He's like the macho man's man. He's not going around talking about like how much of a man that he is. He just does it.
Right. He just does it, right?
He is who he is, and he's confident in that, and that's what establishes masculinity. And I think like a lot of young men would probably do well to realize that is like being a man isn't trying to fit inside a box. It's about being comfortable with who you are and getting done what you need to do and being the best that you can be in spite of whatever challenges that you're facing. So it's,
exactly.
Yeah.
And your actions speak way louder than your words. And so far, from Andrew Tate's words, I don't get much of anything, and his actions are horrible. So
yeah. And as for bragging about sports cars, well, it's the reason why they all look phallic.
You know, we just did a show, and where we came in, there was some bit of the news that all his cars have been essentially seized now by Romanian authorities. So you know what? You lost all your cars now too, buddy.
Yeah.
And now we know exactly how much better the environment will be doing because we know exactly.
Yeah, you know, just because he didn't recycle that one pizza box, we got like how many cars off the road?
Now, disclaimer here: the whole pizza thing is actually not true. The authorities did not address Andrew because they saw the brand of the pizza box on the video. That's not how it actually happened. But it makes me so hoping it was. I was so hoping it was.
A lot of people were saying that at first. Yeah,
it was absolutely just brilliant, and I thought, oh my god, this is like, I don't believe in karma, but I just like, yeah, it's karma, totally. But
right, yeah. Well, anytime you have bad behavior, like I always say, I don't believe in karma, but like I do believe in bad behavior, basically creating more bad behavior, and I guess that could arguably be karma on some sort of cause and effect level, but.
Allegorical karma, we'll call it that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
On we go. What comes next?
Okay.
What comes next from the sage mind of Andrew Tate?
Fasting for masculinity as a whole, because a lot of men are largely forgotten about.
I want to ask you just quickly, the film director Olivia Wilde has a new movie out, which she says is based on you, this insane man, this pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community. Incel being these weirdo loner men who are despicable.
Yeah, well, did you guys? What was that movie called?
$20 says he's gonna cry. Jordan Peterson, that's his thing now. He just cries every interview.
He just starts crying. I know.
$20 says he's gonna cry.
And he's the guy that we're all supposed to be like, man, he's totally masculine. He sounds like fucking Kermit the Frog, and he cries all the time. That's the most masculine. Really? That's what we got here? Jesus.
That old McDonald's farm.
Yeah. It's like, get a sentence out, man. Just say the thing. Stop with the Stop. Just say it.
Well, in many ways. Is that you? Are you the intellectual hero to these people?
Oh God.
Sure. Why not?
Ah, there we go.
You know,
$20.
people have been after me for a long time, because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. You know, what a terrible thing to do that is.
All I can hear is Kermit the Frog.
I know.
I thought the marginalized were supposed to have a voice.
What's terrifying is that such a void for young men.
I just can't. Oh,
Miss Pinky left me. I don't know what to think. I have to speak to disenfranchised young man because Miss Pinky is no longer in my life.
I'm gonna have to make 13 more rules. 13
rules of dating pigs. Rule number 1. Never go with bacon.
You called it though, man. He definitely cried.
There we go. It's his thing now. Every time he's on an interview somewhere, he starts tearing up. It's like, what?
But damn, what was that movie called? There was so there was this movie, and we just watched it. It was cool. It was a good movie, and it was like the character in the movie who ended up just being like a crazy narcissist idiot. Like, what ends up it turned out she based the woman that wrote the story based his character off of Jordan B. Peterson.
Really?
And that's what he was telling it. Like he tells him that he was based on this, like the bad guy character, basically, or like one of the bad guy characters of that movie.
As a Canadian, I feel I have to apologize for Jordan Peterson because he is a Canadian. There's a couple of Canadians like that we feel we really need to apologize for. Justin Bieber.
But you gave us Jim Carrey, so it all evens out, you know.
Yeah, even Jim Carrey to some degree. I mean, but Jordan Peterson's like, fuck, man, really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We actually just watched yesterday. We watched that Once Bitten movie with Jim Carrey, and it has its own theme song. It's like Once Bitten, and it's like an 80s song. Yeah, you got to watch it. It's great. It's great. He was like 17 in that movie or something.
Oh,
that's awesome.
The first place, and that our culture continues to double down in destroying the very concepts of men and masculinity. And the result of destroying concepts like men and women leads to number 8, the rise of people identifying as non-binary, represented by people such as Demi Lovato and Miley Cyrus.
And through this work, I've had a revelation that I identify as non-binary. With that said, I'll officially be changing my pronouns to they, them.
I think I'm weird because that I feel very like genderless. I feel ageless. I feel like I'm just like spirit.
It's one thing for men to say that they are women, or for women to say that they are men. It's on a
okay, but that was just kind of funny that they paused it there because, like, her saying, "I just feel like I'm a spirit being that doesn't really matter," or just like, and they're just be like, "See, crazy! Ah, shit! Wait, we all believe in that too." But fuck, reset.
The issue is, first of all, he says it's one thing for men to think they're women, or for women to think they're men. No, first of all, according to your video a couple of minutes ago, that was a bad thing to you. That was a horrible thing. But now, if you think you're like somewhere between or not really either one, you don't really fit in either category, that's worse somehow.
Yeah, it doesn't, and they're not really ever getting, you notice that like all their arguments are just like the argument from I can't believe what's going on, like it's the argument from ooh gross, and that's it. Like there is no reasons for why this stuff is actually bad. It's like
it's just like it's not black or it's not white, therefore it's bad.
Yeah, it just seems like it only works if you already are a bigot, like it's they're just nodding to people that are already uncomfortable with trans folks, and that's it.
I've met some people in my life that at first glance, and you looked at them, and you're not exactly sure if you're talking to a very masculine female or a very effeminate man. And you realize quickly, yeah, they are that non-binary person. They don't really fit in either category. And this particular person I was talking about also was relatively asexual on top of that. And it kind of takes you aback at first, but you realize, yeah, these people actually do exist, And so, and the question I have is, why do you care? I mean, I don't spend my nights wondering about this person I met years ago thinking, gee, I really wonder about this person. And why is this person, not like she banging or is he banging, or is it a dude or a guy, or is it something? No, who cares? Just live your fucking life. God damn it. Why do you need to worry about this? Is it going to appear on your tax form somehow? Did you meet somebody that was like non-binary and they're going to give you a tax deduction if you do? Or something? It makes no fucking sense. Why do you care? Why do you have to worry about this? Of all the problems in the world, why is this an issue?
Yeah. all the socioeconomic actual problems and whatnot, and they're sitting here about like, but some people don't have a gender. This is what are we even gonna do? The world's gonna burn. Like,
again.
well, you have to be one or the other. Otherwise, what are we even doing?
What are we
Completely
doing?
different level for people to say that they are neither men nor women. This is terrifying because when we continue down this path of destroying the very concepts of men and women, there will be countless children who are victims to this godless ideology.
Queer theory is about non-normative sexuality. It's an identity without an essence. It's non-normative. Queer theory is about being against that which has been normalized.
But even the attempt to
Hold
destroy the
on.
definitions
I'm curious. Has anybody else, read this peer-reviewed journal about queer theory? Has anybody else heard that? Like, what is
Queer theory?
Where the fuck did that come from? Like, what queer theory? I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's making all the intellectual rounds right now. Queer theory.
It's like string theory, but with
Yeah,
no
you got
queers, but more
evolution,
fabulous.
You got evolution. You got germ theory and queer theory.
Now queer theory,
Three of them, right?
which is just people do stuff that's different, and we don't like that.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
of men and women doesn't compare with number 7. The way people like Elizabeth Warren and countless
Uh-oh.
other famous, powerful people responded to
Lizzie.
the overturning of Roe v. Wade. This
Oh,
was an
there it
event
is.
that should have been celebrated.
There it is.
Because we have reached the culmination of what Republicans have been fighting for, angling for decades now, and we are going to fight back. So say it with me. We are not going back. Not ever.
It's truly terrifying that such
This
a
guy.
large percentage of people in this nation absolutely hate the idea that the lives of preborn babies should be protected. But what's even
Yeah, because then the lives of other regular people that have been born end.
Yeah.
Because of you trying to protect something that's not in existence.
I
by
love
any
it. I love it how
argument.
they qualify it as pre-born babies. It's not a fetus; it's a pre-born baby, right? So
That's like just saying like an unmarried married man, like or something. Like if it's preborn, it's literally not a baby, man. That's like why, like 'cause it's
I
not.
think if the woman is 9 months pregnant, and she's at 8.5 and about to give birth in 2 weeks, sure, I think you could call it a preborn baby at that point. When it's like 6 weeks old and it's about the size of a grain of rice, it doesn't even have a heart; it just has an electrical pulse that they call a heartbeat. Preborn baby is really a stretch. It's really.
Here's something to think about. It wasn't until the late 19th century that the church actually started taking a hard line on abortion, and that's also there's a connection with politics. Before that, is the church was okay with the abortions as long as the baby hasn't kicked yet. So so like if the baby kicked, then it's too late. But anything before the baby kicked, then they just turned a blind eye to it. So
in your own holy freaking book, okay, I believe it's Numbers 5:11. There's a passage in there that's an actual magic spell. It's an actual abortion spell. Okay, we're talking about giving a potion to a woman that's
it's a sweet water
bitter
potion.
water.
And there's an incantation.
bitter water. Thank you.
Bitter water. It's supposed to make her miscarry. It's an abortion magic spell. It's in your holy book. I mean, for Christ's sake. And even if you go back to Jewish tradition, you want to go with Jewish tradition? Jewish tradition is you weren't considered a human being until you've taken 3 breaths. So don't do this pre-birth baby shit or this, whatever they want to call it. It's not true.
I think the breath thing is perfect. Honestly, if we went by breath, by like if you're not breathing air out of the air, then I feel like that's a distinction large enough to separate like a person from a fetus. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well,
are they breathing air? No. Okay, well then they're not a fucking person, man. Like it's not.
But
not the
according
same
to
thing.
your tradition, when you took your first 3 breaths, is when your soul kind of came in at the same time, right? Because they always kind of like had the soul as in like an air thing going on there. So,
yeah.
So that's
medieval
what
times, Yeah, in medieval times, you weren't even technically, they didn't count until you were baptized. That's why, like, infants were
true as
born right
well.
away. As soon as you were baptized, that made you a child of God. Until then, you were just like a heathen or something, or didn't count. But it's a
You're like Frankenstein.
It,
It's like soulless, just walking around.
it's a zombie baby.
Yeah.
Never
Well,
mind.
Don, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're the lone female on the panel. You have anything to say about that?
I have to agree with you. It's like, it's as long as, you know, I go with the kick thing. As long as you don't not feeling it kick, it's not a baby. It's a thing in your stomach. And who is it to tell me? I have 3 kids, but who is it to tell me that I have to carry a child against my own will? Like,
Oh, the
that's
U.S.
just-
government thinks it has the right to do that.
yeah, well, that's fucking bullshit, because that's what our veterans had fought for, is the freedom of our rights, and now you're taking away our female rights and telling us that we have to carry this baby under, no matter what the circumstances are of getting rid of it. Like, that's just bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what bugs me too is, like, they always spread this fallacy that people are getting like abortions at 9 months or in the 3rd trimester, and how it's like, and then I link that with using abortion as birth control. But like, in reality, if someone's carried a baby to the 9-month point, if they're getting an abortion, it's going to be like medically required. It's going to be a something that they do not want but have to get. And meanwhile, so while they're going through one of the most hardest moments in their life, they have to deal with like these zealots calling them baby killers when it's when they're feeling like crap because they're going to lose something that they thought that they had.
No,
So,
think about it. What kind of thinking do you have to think that, okay, you're a young woman, you went out and you had sex and you got pregnant, but you're such a party animal that you're just going to wait till you're 9 months pregnant to get an abortion because you use that as some kind of contraception somehow, instead of using a pill or a condom. No, you're just going to use an abortion and wait till you're 9 months and showing and the big belly and the cramping and the nausea and all that. You're going to do that because you're that lazy? Nobody in their right mind does that. It does not happen.
Yeah.
And to go back on what Troy was saying, 96 to 98% of all abortions happen in the first trimester. In the very first trimester, very, very early on. Troy is right. Only if it's absolutely medically necessary, that you know, for example, the fetus is not going to survive, the fetus is already dead, or stuff like that, that these late abortions happen. Otherwise, it just does not happen. It's a hell of a hassle to go through, especially for the poor woman that's carrying this child.
Yeah,
It just goes to show it's more. Yeah, I was just saying it just shows that it's more about a culture war than it is about actually caring about a child or a fetus, because they'll force women to carry these babies, but once the babies are born, it seems like they're completely disregarded by society. So it's like it's a whole morality of life. It seems like it stops as soon as the baby's born. So
you gotta get Troy.
Yeah, it's hard to understand you. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, you're right. I mean, it is like that because I remember the Crowder did a video where he tried to go like undercover and like and there was this woman, because friend of his or maybe his girlfriend or something, she went into an abortion clinic, said that she was big, like, about to pop, 9 months pregnant, and she was like asking for an abortion. And it was so funny because they were trying to show that, like, her going in there, it's like 9 months, and they're just gonna be like, yep, sure, no problem, we'll get you right in for that. And of course, like, as soon as she says, like, why is it, did you find out that something medical is wrong with you? And she was like, no, nothing like that, and it's just, I just don't want it anymore. And she's like, and you just decided that today? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, and then you could see, like, right there, they, like, Crowder had to pull out so much of the audio because it was just like, nobody does this. What are you doing? What are you talking about? Like, but they were trying to, like, make it look like, and they did. They just skipped and took out a ton of the talking, and then just got to her being like, okay, we'll do it. She probably lied and was like, oh yeah, I do have a reason to do it. I don't know. It's interesting.
All right, play on. Only up to 4.
Even more terrifying is number 6. How many professing Christians, such as Creflo Dollar, support something as blatantly evil as Roe v. Wade? Stacey Abrams is a politician who has said some unbelievably evil things regarding preborn life.
There is no such thing as a heartbeat in 6 weeks. It is a manufactured sound designed to convince people that men have the right to take control of a woman's body.
All Christians could agree about the absolute evil of what.
I had a hard time making that out. Did you hear it, Kevin?
Yeah, she basically said, this thing about the heartbeat bill, is a manufactured sin. She used the word sin to make you believe that that this was an issue instead of to take away the rights for women to have a right to an abortion. And she's absolutely correct. It's exactly what it is. The heartbeat bill is exactly that. It's not even a heartbeat. There's not even a heart at that point. It's basically an electrical pulse and say, "Oh, that's a heartbeat. You can't kill that kid." But it's not, it's nothing yet.
It's literally like smaller than a fingernail, and it's just like a cluster of cells, and there's like a little bit of electrical
pulse going through.
current.
They call this a heartbeat,
and they're like, "Oh, there's a heartbeat." Nope. Yeah, you got to have a fucking heart for have a heart to beat. Like, man, that should be required. But I mean, look, they don't even get that God made the sun on the 4th day.
Yeah, exactly.
So apparently, you don't need things to be required for other things because you kind of need suns for days to exist. Anyway.
Stacey Abrams. Okay.
Yeah. So Stacey Abrams is bad because she doesn't agree with their heartbeat bullshit. Okay. Gotcha.
What Abrams just said there, right? Well, now watch what Creflo Dollar, one of the most popular pastors in the country, said about Abrams.
I just want to say this because I want to see how it sounds.
Real quick. So just to be clear, Stacey Abrams basically, what we always had thought that Georgia was an extremely red state. Mm-hmm. And Stacey Abrams was the one that was like figured out, no, we are not a solidly red state. We're mostly a blue state because the black community there wasn't really able to vote. And so she got like all these blockades taken out of the way so black people could vote. So that's like, this is why he's saying this. But of course, they're going to make it like he's only saying it for the abortion thing because they're dishonest. So I just wanted to make
Abrams just walked in.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Okay, well, she has every right to be religious. That's fine.
Yeah. She's not crazy about it, so that's the important part.
In the Creflo Dollar's church.
So you already know what to do, right?
Yeah.
How many of you have already done it? Wow. That's big time.
Yeah, you see, he's talking about abortions. That's what he's talking about here is abortion. No, he's talking about voting. He's talking about voting, but it's
Stacey Abrams in the church. How many of you had your abortion?
Right, yeah. You're all better get one right now. Go do it.
I'm a coupon at the back of the church. You make a donation, you get a 2-for-1 coupon on your abortion.
Right. So make sure you get twins so we can get them both out of there. Jesus.
And not only this, many churches that profess to be Christians supported Senator Raphael Warnock, another extremely pro-abortion politician.
Oh, he's also a preacher.
Several professing Christian celebrities, such as
right, exactly.
Raphael Warnock is actually a preacher. He's a priest, right? Is he not?
Yeah, it's like a Methodist.
It's interesting you just refer to him as just senator. Why didn't they say I don't know, his father, padre, whatever you want to call him? Why didn't they say that? Don't you realize he's one of your own?
Right. No, they go after their own. That's like one of the funniest things about this channel is they like go on there like, look at all the stupid Christians. These are all the stupid wrong ones. Look. And it's like they're just showing people that do the exact same things that they're doing.
Cannibalizing their own. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
Haley Bieber signed a petition called Bands Off Our Bodies to protest the Roe v. Wade decision. It's terrifying that we live
What
in
does
a
that have to do with the
culture
cake?
where countless
What did they just do?
What? Bands Off Our Bodies, which is against abortion, but the first thing they do is they show a guy with a pride flag.
I feel They just put a bunch of stuff in there they know that people don't like.
Yeah, you just put image to get a rise out of people. Oh God, gay flag, gay flag.
They're like, oh man, I fucking hate that flag. You know,
That's nothing what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Why don't they put a monster truck rally there while you're at it? You know?
I know. Right? Just put a monster.
Put her while you're at it. You know.
Yeah.
Christians support the evil of ending preborn life. But just wait until we cover number 5 and what kind of
Okay.
music stars such as Kendrick Lamar, Beyonce, and Demi Lovato have released this year. Kendrick
God,
Lamar
Kendrick.
performed a song called Savior live at Glastonbury while wearing an absurdly expensive diamond crown of thorns. Beyonce
Oh
mocked
my
the Bible by
God.
posing for pictures with a black horse, a red horse, a white horse, and a pale horse, which
Ah.
represent the four
I missed the
horsemen
blue
of the
one.
apocalypse. And Beyonce also
Oh.
released an album titled Renaissance, which was full of blasphemy towards Christianity. Demi Lovato released an
They
album
just-
titled Holy F.
I mean, no, the fuck is I've heard that album. Like she talks about God and everything in it. Like it's so funny. They just like say it's blasphemous and he's like, we're not going to provide any examples. Moving on.
Yeah.
And
all this.
Well, do you want
all
this? I was going to say what this reminds me of is back in the 80s when there was like Madonna released her Like a Prayer video. And it was like this big public media event, and everybody waited on TV to watch it. And then after they watched it, all the religious people went crazy about having burning crosses on TV, having a white woman
Fixing the
kiss a
church.
black man on television. It's like,
you can't do that.
Yeah,
I'll give it before
it's like,
that.
but
Ever
you
since
see
I'll
this
give it before
outrage.
that.
No, I was going to say you see this outrage all the time, and it's and when you look back like 20, 30 years at the same outrage, like it just went from blatantly hateful and not to racist to nowadays they just mask it a little bit better. But it's that's just my opinion.
I'll go
Yeah,
even
no,
before
yeah.
that. Ever since John Lennon said that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus, and the craziness that spurred, musicians have known ever since that moment that if you do something like that with a hint of religion, sales go up. And they know this, and this is why they do it, because the Christians are crazy enough and they just talk about it, and it's free publicity.
That's
They
what it is.
know this. Don't
Yeah.
you think Madonna knew what she was doing when she didn't like a prayer and all that stuff? She knew exactly what she was doing. These guys know exactly what they're doing too. They know it's going to be on every right-wing channel talk about the outrage of depicting Jesus and has his crown of thorns full of diamonds. How dare he? And they know it's free publicity. You're just playing through their hands.
Yeah, because then you get all the YouTube commentators, right? And then you got the YouTube commentators getting mad at the other commentators that covered it, and then you just have this sort of endless cycle of.
We're part of it right now. We are doing.
Yeah,
this
don't
part of
leave
it.
out the reaction videos.
Yeah,
Right, exactly, yeah.
We don't react negatively to it. We're doing it right now. We're actually in the machine right now.
We're part of the machine.
We're part of the machine. It's very meta.
We're just a cog.
We're in the matrix right now.
Yep.
That sounds like a robot being a matrix.
Holy
UK with our
Probably worse microphone
saying that
But it was almost perfect because he's talking about the Matrix, and it was like.
Only missing out the little thing coming on the screen, the little matrix effect. That's all you're missing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like too. That part where the metal goes in his mouth. It's like.
Troy took the red pill.
Yes. All right, here we go. Whatever you it seems like you can unplug it and plug it back in or something because it seems to get better, and then all of a sudden
It's
it goes.
good
It's
for
so
5
weird.
minutes, and then it starts to pop like that. I don't know what it is about his mic.
It almost might be the internet because it doesn't sound like the.
I think this is
It literally sounds like the AOL thing. Remember AOL when it was like signing in? That's what it sounds like.
Troy is so far in the boonies. he's not able to-
That's so funny. All right, yeah.
I'm gonna be quiet. Say,
Oh, that sucks. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Oh, so she's tied on the
cross
bed on mute. Like,
shaped map
Cross-shaped mattress.
It
Well, now
terrifies
Hold on. Let me let it catch up. Okay. Now let's try it. Wow, that's so weird sounding.
Towards Christianity.
Damn, this is messing up too.
Oh, great. Everybody's internet's messing up now.
I know, right? Not sure what's happening. Okay, let me pause it one more time.
Executive producer Latoya talked about her not at all is doing with
our leadership there has so welcoming to like my like not at all secret gay agenda, and so I feel like it may was that way in the past, but I guess like
damn. Okay. So she's saying like I'm there when she's working for Disney. They're basically like not saying anything when she's like, let me put this gay character in, let me put this queer concept in, let's put this. And Disney wasn't saying anything to be like, no, don't do that. And then she said my perfectly exposed gay agenda, which that just freaks him out right there because it's just all it is the agenda of like not being bullied by literally everybody.
Yeah,
that's the agenda. You know, but
you know what I think is funny? Nobody had a problem with Disney grooming kids when they had movies like Song of the South, like normalizing slavery, or anti-Semitic tropes, or in some of their older cartoons. Nobody had a problem with grooming.
I can't. Yeah,
it might be that you can't make
so at all. Just do sign language and
what I caught is. What I caught Troy saying, he's right though. He did say, nobody seemed to have any problems till much later when they did like Songs of the South, which was blatantly racist, right, and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, there's this queer agenda that everybody's looking. I mean, it became a problem with Songs of the South and stuff like that. Absolutely became a problem. But it was when it first came out, nobody seemed to have an issue with that. But now that you have a bit of, a little gay reference here and there on some videos on Disney movies, all of a sudden everybody lose their goddamn mind.
Right. Okay. Let me see if it's caught up yet.
Like they are turning it around that I I don't have to be afraid to have these two characters kiss. It's just
Jesus Christ, we're having issues.
Yeah, this one's like going out too. I don't know why. I got it hard lined in too. Well, here, let me go ahead and let it load up, and you guys just talk for a minute. I got to use the bathroom real quick.
Professionalism. That's professionalism, right?
This is live. We're live. Okay.
Just
go ahead. Edit it out.
Right back.
Edit all that out. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, Dawn, this is actually stuff that you see happening in the States right now. These are huge topics that are affecting Americans, not as much up here in Canada. Nowhere near as much up here in Canada. Thank goodness for that. But these are huge topics that are affecting Americans and to their deepest politics, to the point that some people are elected on these issues. And it's amazing to think that, we know that in 2023, we're dealing with this kind of nonsense.
Why would this even come into like someone's sexuality or how they feel or about their sexuality or even abortions come into effect to elect somebody in the Senate? Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
That's a good question, and probably a better question to ask to somebody that's more educated than myself. I think that America as a country is very right wing and very conservative, much more than a lot of European countries, and countries out of the West, I should say, and it shows. Right? I mean, this is a concerted effort from the Christian right that's been going on since Jesus Christ, since probably John F. Kennedy, to bring this kind of power. I mean, let's face it, any patriarchal religion, whether it's Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, has a dominionism issue. And by what I mean by that is their doctrine is to dominate the world. That's what their doctrine is. So Christianity in the U.S. does want to take over the country. They want to turn the U.S. into a Christian nation. That's what they want to do. They say it plainly. They absolutely say it blatantly. And this is how they do it. But the problem is that the problem they're running into is their power is dwindling, right? Or their popularity, I should say, is dwindling. As more and more people are getting more and more educated, the kids are not attracted to the church. They don't care about, the stupidity of Jesus' story. And they seek, even if you could say spirituality, somewhere else. And they realize this. They realize they're losing this battle. So what they're doing right now, they're making a concerted effort to entrench themselves in the law of the land. Really, really, really hard. And they're doing their goddamn best. And it is a concerted effort. And they never stop. And what concerns me as a Canadian, being so close to the U.S., is I see this coming across the border. I see this trying to influence our politics, trying to influence our citizens, trying to influence other places in the world. And it's a big, big, big concern that I have. And we've talked about this on the show a lot. So you can't help as a Canadian to pay close attention to what goes on in the States, because this kind of stuff is next door and trying to come over here.
Yeah, I think if I was offering a hypothesis for the whole thing, it would have to be that when politicians get people riled up and triggered over culture wars, people are voting over philosophical values instead of political achievement or political direction. So it's because, like, the U.S. is a perfect example. Like, look at all the things that the Republican Party does that harms people, that people don't want, that benefits only like an oligarchy or whatever within their society. But yet they're able to get massive support from the general population because they want tax cuts for the rich, or they want social programs cut, but because they think that they've got to save that fetus, or they got to get rid of like the trans menace, or whatever minority they're picking on now to rile them up. If I was to offer any hypothesis, is the only reason why they do this stuff is because they don't have to actually do their jobs to get elected. They can just get people angry enough to vote for them just on these culture war topics. But
absolutely, and to prove the point that Troy is making through it, we just talked about abortion. Look at the numbers about abortion and how people think of abortion. They want to have the right to abort. They really do. Even in like red states like Kansas, that showed they tried to indoctrinate on the state level to not have the right to abort, and the entire state of Kansas basically said no, we want to have that right. So even in very conservative states, yeah. So this is not abortion is, for lack of a better term, a popular issue with the people. Yet Christians are basically saying no. We don't want it. We're the ones in power, and they know they're losing this battle, so they're trying to entrench this into the law. They're trying to shove it down your throat, essentially, and they don't care because they're all doing this for the glory of Jeebus, right? So they don't care.
And they're the ones that get galvanized by it. You know what I mean? It's like they're like, because the thing is, and they're doing the same thing with the queer community now. Like, what they're trying to do is, if they repeat something enough, it gets stuff in people's heads, right? And one of the things that they try to repeat over and over is that the people that they are ideologically opposed to, you have to connect them to murderers and rapists and stuff like that. Like everything that's unpleasant. If you can get if you can get through repetition, the people you're trying to convince tied, their understanding of the people you're voting against are the same as baby killers and child predators and stuff.
Yeah.
That, like, if they can make that connection happen, that's galvanizes their base. And they did it with the baby killer thing with the abortion, and now they're doing it with there's pedophile shit, groomer shit, whatever, with the LGBTQIA plus community. So
Christianity is that that mother-in-law that you have that thinks that knows better than everybody, and she's voicing her opinion no matter how ridiculous it is, and nobody's like, and everybody say yeah whatever. Right? Or remember when
boomer.
Yeah, remember like in the 80s when you went to a restaurant and there's like 4 non-smokers and 1 smoker, you end up in the smoking section. That smoker is Christianity. And that's what every day. That's what's happening today. They're going to the smoking section because of Christianity, because Christianity is pulling the rules and pulling on the levers of power. It's not it's not a representation, a correct representation of the country in the U.S. or Canada, for that matter. Probably, I'll even venture around the world. But right now, they're still in the levers of power, and they do their best. And they've gone on the ground. They've gone to small meetings, from PTA meetings to municipal meetings, and they've put their people in there in power, while the rest of us were kind of sleeping at the switch. And we're reaping their rewards, if you wish, of this. So. It's complicated. Anyway, enough of me.
Let's see if I can get it to play.
See anything queer?
No, it's not.
No one would.
All right. Sometimes you just.
How about you push it forward a bit? See what happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right?
Going in? Well, what about number 3? Republican senators such as Mitt Romney joining Democrats in signing into law the Respect for Marriage Act, which seeks to redefine marriage as no longer between one man and one woman.
Today's a good day. Toward equality, toward liberty and justice, not just for some, but for everyone. Toward creating a nation where decency, dignity, and love are recognized, honored, and protected. Today, I sign a law.
We cannot redefine marriage. And I know what you're saying here, right? You say we can't redefine marriage, but haven't we defined marriage? No, we haven't.
Yes, we have.
It has nothing to do with the gender, though.
But even the Respect for Marriage.
Okay, first of all,
what I find ironic is like if you go back like 200-300 years, he wouldn't have been allowed to marry just because of the color of his skin. It's the like if you want to go back even further, is if you want to get married, you have to ask your local landlord or local lord or whatever whether or not you can get married. And if you want to marry someone that is not on your land, you better cough up, because you just denied the lord some extra labor when you get pregnant. Traditional marriage values aren't that good. It's a contract. It's like it's only within the last.
Yeah, even if you go
within the last 200.
Even if you go by biblical principle, the biblical principle of marriage is what? Oh, you have a right to a marriage and 4 concubines and shit like that? Come on. I mean, we've redefined marriage several times in our history. Several times. And it's not a concept that belongs to Christianity. Christianity did not invent marriage, okay? So just get the fuck over it. And if you're if you find yourself in a place in society where you're backing up a law that excludes people, you're on the wrong side of history. It's a very simple test. If you have to exclude people from whatever it is you're doing, you're on the wrong side of history. You just are.
Yeah.
So if you're going to support a law that excludes the gays from getting married, or excludes, women from having rights, or excludes children from having rights, you're on the wrong side of history. You just are. So I don't care what I don't care what Jesus said. You're on the wrong side of history.
Well, Jesus said nothing about it. It's everybody that came after him, and even the people that came after him got mistranslated to basically to validate what our modern pop culture says about it. So, sorry, it's everything's cutting in and out on me here.
Yeah.
I got it. I'm mad for Mike now. I think it's my internet connection. It's I'm pretty sure my internet connection.
No, great.
Is everybody frozen? Nope.
Nearly as
I think it's everybody's too, because this ain't.
I'm too, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know why it's.
There's like 3 left. I want to know the next 3
I know.
Christians fear, because Mitt Romney apparently is a terror. Aren't you afraid of Mitt Romney?
Are in the censorship business. They are playing and flagging in huge quantities and sending them back to platforms like Twitter to be moderated, and we have absolute.
Yeah.
He's complaining about people moderating Twitter and Facebook. Is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think talking about like censorship and shit. It seems.
Oh yeah, censorship. Oh, how many times do I have to go through this
Either
argument?
limit someone's visibility all the way to
Right.
I know what this guy's gonna say. He's complaining that people are being censored on Facebook or on Twitter. Here's the issue. When you have the right to free speech, that is the government has no right to restrict your free speech. That's what it is.
Yeah.
When you sign on to Twitter and it says, I accept the conditions are written right there. And the conditions basically say, if you're going to be an asshole to people, we have the right to pull you away. And you click I accept. That's the end of your argument right there. It's not the dark state, deep web, whatever you want to call it, that's trying to take your 300 followers away from you. No, it's not that. Okay?
Yeah.
It's that at all. It's
And
just
the whole
asshole, and we don't like to talk to assholes. The rest of us just don't.
Right. And if they're talking, it's so sad when they're talking about this whole fucking, I don't know if you guys kept up with the whole Twitter files thing. Saying that, it was all like they're trying to show like correspondence between people that worked at Twitter to say that, they were actively censoring the right while the left was, they let to basically break the same rules and everything like that. But that's just not true. First of all, the fact that they were showing that these correspondence were happening in the first place shows the disagreement was going on within even the Twitter, the people who decide things were not, on the same page, obviously, and they were trying to figure it out. But that's one thing. And then the second of all, it's like, you see that now he's stopped he brought all these people back, right? And he stopped censoring like racism and stuff like that, which happens to be on the right a bit more of the time. You know what I mean? Like they just happen to fucking be more racist more of the time than people on the left. And so
hopefully I remember this news story properly, but the just this week the FCC completed their investigation on Twitter, and they found out that the survey that they did was only based on 36 accounts, and that once you start looking at everybody as a whole, there was like a larger spectrum or whatever. It turned out that there was no censorship. They just cherry picked the numbers so that they could have their little culture war.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's the lawsuits.
Sorry, go for it, Troy.
No, I was going to say the lawsuit still needs to go through or whatever because they were suing Twitter also, but it looks like the lawsuit's going to get tossed out at this point because the fact that the FCC completely destroyed their case. But it just goes to show how. I was going to say it just goes to show how so many things that people get triggered on is just based on absolute lies and misrepresentation.
Here's another very good example. They've been saying, Twitter's been promoting the left, which is full bullshit. Anybody who's been on Twitter for 10 minutes would see that's not the truth. And then
they're making the money on the right.
Elon Musk is here. Elon Musk is going to come and save us. Well, you remember that idiot Baked Alaska? Remember that clown?
Yeah.
The guy that goes into stores with video cameras and starts coughing on people on purpose, saying, you shouldn't wear a mask. And the guy's a complete douchebag.
Oh, that's the rapping guy. Sorry. That's the rapper guy.
Well, yeah, that moron, his Twitter account came back when Elon came on. And that guy, right off the bat, did a video so bad, apparently, that he got banned right off the bat as well. And now he's doing another video saying, probably, I'm not going to make a prediction here, probably going to predict that Elon Musk has been affected by the deep state and they're taking my rights away. Rah. It's like, these guys just don't stop. They just want to be douchebags, and they're angry that the rest of the population is saying, we don't want to hear your shitty opinion, buddy. We don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And they're really, really pissed that I can't be shitty at people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that old South Park episode where the kids are playing baseball, and then Stan's dad comes to every game, gets loaded drunk, starts picking fights with everybody. Somehow he ends up with his pants falling down, being dragged away by the police. It's like, I'm sorry, I thought this was America. I thought I was free.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's like, oh man, I thought this was America. How come I can't be shitty to people? Because you live in a fucking society, you moron. There's a social contract that basically says you got to have some kind of decency towards your fellow primates.
Yeah, and pretty much everything that the right wing like fights to be is they're all fighting to be people nobody wants to be around ever.
Yes. Why can't I be like Hitler? Jesus Christ, man. Why can't I be like Hitler? What's my freedom of being impeached, man? I mean,
Let's try it. What's that?
Oh.
Zero or amplified.
Damn. Oh, I can't get it though.
People are trying so hard to be shitty. They're trying so hard to have the right to be shitty. You know?
It's just so strange.
People are blogging. I don't understand why.
What I find funny is a couple months back, I was just reading through the buildup of Nazi Germany, and like reading through some of Hitler's old speeches, and all the tropes that you hear nowadays of attacking the media, attacking the Jews, attacking minorities, the woke liberals, the censorship of what people really think, and it's like these are all populist tropes that give rise to some really toxic behavior and ideologies, and the Nazis are a perfect example of that.
Damn. It was your mic was so perfect until you said Nazi, and then you just went to crap. I don't know what happened there.
So it thinks you're a Nazi. The internet's like, oh no, it's a Nazi.
Yeah,
get rid of him.
Oh, Troy's a Nazi.
How do they know?
Well, or actually, it actually is probably YouTube being like, wait, is he talking shit about Nazis? No. Let's get him out of here. Get him out of here. No, we don't need him. We don't need him.
Soon you'll be. You better call Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate drawing so you be censored.
That's it.
Doing surgeries on minors who have been lied to about gender. Lives of countless young.
Come back around to the gender thing.
Yeah, they're obsessed with that. That's what they're going on to now. They just lied and said that they're doing all these surgeries on minors, which is not true. Like the whole that basically makes the whole purpose of gender or of blockers, the puberty blockers, makes that completely superfluous. It's like the whole point is to wait until you're an adult, then you can decide, this type of stuff.
I had this conversation with some of the people that are leaning right, and they're good people, but they have this issue thinking the argument they were saying is basically you shouldn't be teaching these things to kids because their brain is not fully developed, which on the surface sounds like a great argument. The issue with that is your sexuality is not in your prefrontal cortex. Okay, what makes you a man, a woman, or something else is not in your prefrontal cortex. It's one of the, for lack of a better term, more primitive sections of the brain, right? Because you still have if you were a different species of animal, an alligator or something like that, you still have that sexuality developed in that part of your brain, in the lizard brain, if you wish. So sexuality develops there as well. So your prefrontal cortex does develop to you about the age of 25, but your sexual identity and all that is not in the prefrontal cortex. Therefore, the idea of that, you got to wait till they're 25 to be mature enough to understand is erroneous. You find out way before that, what you're attracted to and what you're not attracted to. Right? I didn't wait till I was 25 to find out I like women, right? Way before that. Way before that. The problem arises that we live in a culture that says you're either a man or a woman. And thank you, Christianity, for doing that to us. And therefore, when you're something in between, you're confused because your culture tells you, well, you're a man or a woman, or you're straight and you shouldn't be gay. and you realize, well, I don't fit into that category. Where do I go? What do I do? But you already know you're not in that category. You already know intuitively inside that you're not a cis man or a cis woman, or or one of these things. This is the problem, and this is why teaching kids about sexuality and acceptance of other types of sexuality is important, so these kids can realize, okay, well, I'm not a cis man or I'm not a cis woman, but it's okay, I could be something else. That's what's important here. It's not the idea of you got them to wait, because at that point these kids are already asking themselves these questions. I mean, what time I don't know, what time did you guys discover your sexuality? I mean,
young.
It wasn't 25.
Definitely not. No, yeah, it was definitely earlier than that.
Right? So I understand that it sounds like a great, valid argument to say, yeah, excellent. Thank you, Pragmatic Crystal. It's a very valid argument to say. It sounds like a valid argument to say, well, you should wait till the kids are fully developed. It sounds like good wisdom, even, but it doesn't reflect the reality, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not pragmatic, because kids have to know at least something about the reality that they're in.
Yes.
Because they're going to find out anyway. I mean, they're going to see it, and then they're going to ask a question, and what we got to just know to be like, oh, you lie to your kids about why two men are married or whatever. Until when? Like, when is it? Until they're fully developed? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You can tell a kid, yeah, sometimes men love men, and they're like, okay. That's it. They don't care.
You ever talk to a 5-year-old and say, well, how come Uncle Bobby's got this friend and he doesn't have a wife, something like that? Well, Uncle Bobby, likes men, and he's married to John. Oh, okay, thank you. Can I have an Oreo cookie now? That's the extent of what they want to know.
Exactly.
It's like, you don't start asking questions about, well, what kind of position do they go in? I mean, did they do like intercourse? Like, no 5-year-old says that. Okay, so you need to stop freaking out about this stuff. Just give the kid the information that is appropriate for his or her age. And
as far as complexity goes,
you don't need to devolve into the situation of let's talk about origin and shit like that. And and the kid will absorb what he or she can at this point. The
reason they don't like it is because they have to say, hey, sometimes men love men, and they're like, okay, and they're like, and we hate them and they're going to hell. And so that's what, they hate that they have to do that part, the part where their kids like, really? Are we assholes? Are we bad? What? And they gotta be like, yes, we are assholes. Yes. And you are going to be a little asshole too. Okay.
Yeah.
You hate them too.
We have a long, proud tradition of being assholes in this family.
Better not stop with you.
Kids are going to ask, how come this person is single, or they're not with a wife, that man's not with a wife. It's going to be, how come so-and-so, my friend, has two moms or has two dads? It's not going to be the question of, oh, how come this person isn't with a female or with a male? It's going to be two moms or two dads.
Yeah, and mostly if they ask you why his friends got two moms, it's probably because he wants two moms too, because he gets two desserts. This is the extent of how kids think. So you don't need to complicate things. But these issues are much more complicated because the adults are making them more complicated than they need to be. Right?
Exactly.
It's the adults that can't cope with the situation, and then they use the mantle of, we need to protect the kids as justification for them not being able to cope with the situation, which is very, very
well. The adults, the adults will talk so much about grooming children without realizing they've been groomed their entire lives to be bigots towards homosexuals or the trans community and anybody else that seems as different or doesn't fit inside the box that they've been told is normal. And it's and we don't realize that we've been groomed our entire lives to judge people in a black and white scenario. They're either this or they're that, and it's like where if you don't go up in that environment, then you start to learn that oh wait, everybody's a little bit different. They do their own thing, and it's that's something that I think society's trying to aim for now is to just make people less judgmental. But but it's hard though when you have so much push up from people, so much pushback. So.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I said virtue signaling has a lot to do with it. Yeah, I totally agree. Pragmatic, Kristen.
Absolutely. All right. Hopefully the video's caught up.
Let's see. I don't know. It just seems to be.
I was put on testosterone.
What hospitals are doing to minors in the name of gender affirming care is truly one of the most terrifying and horrific things I have ever seen happen.
Oh, and it's an eye.
It can be easy to lose hope living in a culture where so much evil is happening around us. That's why we'll conclude this video with John MacArthur providing perspective about all of this.
This is a dire time,
All right, let me
and I
stop
can
here
speak.
because so now he's gonna basically just do a fucking sermon. But, yeah, that was like all the fun stuff. But yeah, and the fact that they're saying these things about like children and all that and gender affirming care, like they were literally trying to outlaw that. And I think was it Kansas? Kansas or I think it was Kentucky actually, something like that. They were trying to outlaw up to the age of 26. So all this stuff about like, oh, it's all about the children is just bullshit. They're just trying to make life as hard for the people that they don't like as they can, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how these guys are saying, how everything is just horrible and the end of the world is happening and everything's so much evil around us. Just try to put yourself in the 1500s in medieval times. Just try. For example, there's like barbarian raids happening. You're being killed just for looking at somebody the wrong way. There's disease all over the place. People think they're demons. You really think society today, with people trying to like gay rights and trying to get a gay couple getting married, you really think that's the evil part and that's what makes life difficult for humankind? Really? Try living, like I said, with a barbarian raid coming down the road and tell me today's evil. Yeah, sure, today's evil. The evil raids back then, that was fine. The good old times, right? But today, somehow, gay people getting married, that's the horror of our society in history. That's the horror somehow. Like, come on, dude. Have some perspective here. We are living in the best times of our society throughout the history of Homo sapiens. These are the best times yet. They will get better. We don't have to scrounge every day. Most of us, for 2 generations now, even before, I would say before the generation that fought World War II, every generation knew war as a way of life. I've never had to go to war. My father never had to go to war. Before that, they always had to go to war. And you tell me today we live in the end times? Today we live in those evil, evil times? You have any fucking clue, dude? I mean, come on.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh, so this guy, do we want to watch that speech or?
I mean, we'll start it, and if it gets, I think it gets pretty boring.
On your behalf, because I know you carry the same burdens that I do as a church, this is a very hard time for the church. The church is, at least in name, filled with false teachers, defecting pastors, immoral leaders,
being held
proud,
accountable,
arrogant, and power being usurped by women, division, racial hate, and animus.
It's like power being usurped by those fucking women,
goddamn women ruining everything. And then don't get me started on the gays.
Right? It's like how do you not figure out that you're the bad guys when you're sitting here going, and then another gender got power. Like, this is bullshit, right? Like, what is
I mean, I got the right to marry whoever I want, but if that guy gets to marry whoever he wants, that's bullshit.
Then my marriage is messed up. They ruined it. They ruined my marriage.
Your gay wedding is ruining the sanctity of my 4th marriage. This is really what these people are complaining about. Well, I got my 4th marriage. I got divorced 3 times, but I'm the holy one, and your gay wedding is really ruining that.
Yeah. Now I got to explain to my kids, that we hate you guys because you're married.
Yeah, that's right. I have to explain to my kids how evil you guys are.
Yeah,
absolutely evil. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna have all these gay people and come redecorate our houses? Oh my God, the horror.
Evil. It's funny because I was like, a while ago, I remember saying like, I get like how they feel, when they have to explain their kids, that gay people exist. Because like we have to do that too. We have to explain to our kids that there are these group of crazy people that think that it was a good thing that a guy was torture murdered to death, not because they love that guy or hate that guy, because they love that guy, and that's why it was a good thing for him to be torture murdered. Which makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, we get it. We get the struggle.
It doesn't make sense that they. Yeah, it does make sense they worship somebody that was tortured and murdered also. So there you go. It's
exactly
like that's weird, right?
Wait. Yeah.
I wonder how many of these people are going to realize. Sometimes you watch some very old footage, some black and white footage, and some black and white pictures of people saying, no colored people allowed in this neighborhood, and walk on by if you're a black man, or blah blah blah, and. I wonder if these people that are in these pictures back then realized later in their life how horribly wrong they were. And these people that are in these same videos are now realizing that 50 years from now, or maybe even less than that, these are going to be the same people that we looked at. This is the modern equivalent of these people saying, this is a white neighborhood, or this is a Christian neighborhood. If you're a Jew, keep on walking. These are the equivalent of these same people. When you look at these pictures and everything, oh my God, how ridiculous was this?
Yeah.
These is the modern equivalent.
You ask.
Nope.
Lost him mid-sentence. Damn. All right.
It's all freeze like Troy. Poor Troy. Having the worst day ever. Poor guy.
All right, let's see here.
There he is.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, no, he's fully gone. Okay.
Bad
not sure if
theology, worldliness. It's a very dire time. And it is compounded by the
Dire
fact
straits.
that we feel like we're being persecuted because we're being told we can't meet. There are some people who might wonder what the future of the church is. I am the Lord your God who upholds your right hand, who says to you, do not fear, I will help you. Do not fear, you worm Jacob, you men of Israel. I will help you, declares the Lord, and your Redeemer is the Holy One of Israel. Over and
He
over,
sounds
God
worse than me
declares
when
to
he's
his
reading.
people that he would be their deliverer, their protector.
Jesus.
No matter how strong the enemy, no matter how formidable his forces, he would always be the protector of his people.
These
Jesus
farces.
Christ will win. Revelation says he will come back as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And he
Okay,
will
robot.
reign.
It's
Christ
one of the
wins,
things that
and we
probably
win with
hurts me the most about
we
Christians.
are in the
They're
triumph.
so
We're-
horny for marketing.
Oh, yeah.
The most about Christians. They're so horny for the end of the world. They're so horny to be persecuted. They just want persecution. Please, please beat us up so we can just complain about how horrible it is to be a Christian.
Right. Yeah.
When 70% of the people are Christians and we're so persecuted. Please help us, Lord.
Well, it's like that guy. Did you see that video of that guy going to the gym and was sitting there like, y'all are going to hell and Jesus needs to save you. You need to repent. All you guys need to repent. And then people were coming up to him like, hey man, can you not be shouting at people while they're working out? And he's like, oh, see, I'm getting persecution right here. Persecution. Right. Yeah. Cause anybody that goes and annoys a bunch, an entire room of people, is bound to get persecuted, at some point when they are asked to leave. It's like, good God.
No. I really wish we should do that. Somebody should just walk into a church one day in the middle of their sermon and basically said, you know what? You guys should repent and accept Xenu. I'm just persecuted here. Why is everybody not listening to me? Because I'm just trying to save you. Xenu sent me on a mission. It's like
freedom of speech. Freedom of speech.
Okay. Persecuted. Xenu saved me.
They're just persecuting Xenu, like always.
Yeah, exactly. They refuse to see the light of Xenu. Every knee will bow before Xenu one day. Every knee.
I say just go full Viking And it's like, I worship Thor. Your God got nailed to a cross. Mine carries a hammer.
Arguably the opposite.
You see that meme? This is this Jesus image that says, "Come at me, bro," and the next image is Thor coming in with the hammer, and then Jesus on the ground says, "Fuck my life."
That's awesome.
That's brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That
okay.
victory parade. In
Oh.
that victory parade, as I mentioned, there would be some priests carrying censers.
Yeah, this is too long, and it's kind of boring. So here, we'll,
So
we'll just
essentially,
finish
this is the same whole rehash thing. Christians are being persecuted. Oh my God, the horror! The end of the world is coming. We've been saying this for 2,000 years. We're gonna keep saying that as long as Christianity happens. Blah blah blah. The gays, Mitt Romney. These are all horrible, horrible things.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
pretty
it's,
much.
it's funny with Mitt Romney strapped his dog to a roof rack and went on family vacation with his dog in the kennel on the roof. And people's problem with them is his support for gay marriage.
Yeah. Of all the things,
All right, I gotta head. I'm getting picked up. All right, y'all. Next time. Sorry.
Okay, we'll see you later, Brad.
Take it easy. Yeah.
All right.
Bye now.
See you later, man. Oh man. Well, I guess that ends our video for today, guys. Well, thank you so much for being with us to another strange things that Christians say. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back on the air doing a normal show real soon. I'll probably just pop this as a audio podcast for our listeners anyway, because unfortunately we were supposed to have a show today, but Helen is sick and her guest, she wanted to make sure she'd be there for her guest, so we'll reschedule that one. And we're supposed to also have Tom and Cecil. They were supposed to show up this last Thursday. We were supposed to air that show today, but unfortunately, Tom, his family's got a strep throat, so we have to reschedule that one as well. We will bring him to the show. Don't worry. We'll have Tom and Cecil for you. We'll be talking about their book, The Grand Encompassing Theory of Bullshit, I believe it's called. So we'll be talking about that. And we've got lots more coming down the pipe of what's happening at Left of the Valley. Anything else you guys don't want to talk about? Don, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, and now you saw the horror of what it's like to do a podcast as a Patreon. Be like a Patreon member, patron. Just go to patreon.com/LETV and help support the show.
Okay.
And if you make a donation, we'll get Troy a better mic.
I got some tech support stuff to do this week because I think that. But yeah, so just think of me as comic relief, and just thank goodness I did all my swearing once I was disconnected. So.
All right. Well,
yeah, I get unhooked, and also I'm doing the Fred Flintstone fracking schmacking son of a fracking. Yeah.
Hey, Fred,
Either way.
Pebbles.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. Until next time.
Okay, we'll see you.